All right. You ready?
Ready? Okay, everybody here. We'll call the meeting's order at 5:31 PM. And like that, Stacey Harrison, if you'll lead us in a prayer and the pledge of the flag, please.
Great. Our Lord in heaven, we just come to you this evening, Lord. We just ask for your blessings over this meeting. We just thank you for each and every one that takes a part in it, for the commission, Lord, and for all those that put these meetings together. We just thank you for it, Lord. Lord, we ask that it be for your glory. Everything that's said, everything that's done, be for your glory, be for the betterment of this city, Lord. There's a lot of great things happening and people are noticing, and we appreciate that. Lord, we just give you thanks for that. Lead, guide, and direct us now, Lord, as only you can. We ask all these things in your most holy and precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stacey, thank you again and again. Go to the open forum.
Go ahead, you're fine.
No open forum.
No, sir.
Okay. Right. All right, we'll go to special presentations and announcements. And I'll turn it over to the city manager at this moment.
Well, the first one we're gonna do, Mayor, we're gonna have you do the proclamation and appreciation to outgoing Commissioner Rob Durham. And you got that proclamation.
All right.
You wanna present that?
All right, Rob.
Well, if you guys wanna maybe come up here, that'd be a good place.
Here's an old picture.
What now?
I didn't realize I was that blurry.
It does look a little blurry, isn't it?
All right, Rob. Read this to you here. We are here today to express special recognition to Rob Durham and to honor him for his distinguished 8 years of service and dedication to the city of Breckenridge. And Rob began his service with the city of Breckenridge in 2016 as commissioner as well as mayor pro tem, sharing his valuable knowledge and leadership with his fellow commissioners, with the citizens of the city of Breckenridge. In his years of service has been marked by exemplary dedication to the best interest of our community and the public service safety of our citizens. And Rob has been an outstanding leader, mentor of the city of Breckenridge, city commission, the city thereof. Rob will be missed both professionally and as a friend, and has displayed the highest example of character, ethics, morals, and unselfish service. And by virtue of the authority invested in me as mayor of the city of Breckenridge, on behalf of the city commission and all citizens, therefore express my sincere appreciation to Rob Durham for his dedication to the city of Breckenridge, and do by here proclaim the following: that Rob Durham will be and is hereby officially commended for his outstanding service to the citizens, city of Breckenridge, Texas. That this proclamation be presented to him to service as a reminder that he will always be reminded as a kind, considered, and loyal individual dedicated to the city of Breckenridge and its citizens. And that a copy of this proclamation will be made part of his official records of the city of Breckenridge, Texas. Proclaimed this 4th day of June, 2024. Rob, that is yours, my man. Our appreciation of that is that.
What's the last line say?
Oh, it says go Buck.
You get, okay, oh, this week, all right. Come on, I'm sorry.
Don't need to do like the high school.
Thank you for Well, there's a box with that in there, right there.
Actually, I was thinking, that looks like a pretty neat little hood ornament. From the hood. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
All right. I've got next week, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Good seeing you.
Hey.
Nice meeting you and working with you.
All righty. See you. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
All right. So, picture. Hey, you. You got your free on. Good to see you, Emma. All righty, good seeing you. Hey, thanks, bud. Yeah. Go Mavs.
Yep.
Oh, that's 347.
Take care, Rob.
See you,
I'm
man.
gonna miss him. All right, we'll go down to, item 2, city secretary to swear the elected officials for May the 4th, 2024 general election. I'll turn it over to Jessica.
Right, so you can hear me talk for a whole little while now. All right, so what we're gonna start with is we're gonna start with the mayor. So mayor, if I can get you to raise your hand, we'll start with your oath of office. And if you'll just repeat after me. I, Bob Sims,
I, Bob Sims,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute the duties
execute the duties
of the office
of the office
of mayor
of mayor,
of the state of Texas,
state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability,
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and to this state.
and this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, now we'll do your statement of officer. If you'll raise your hand one more time.
Do what now? I'm sorry.
One more time, we're gonna do your statement of officer, okay?
Okay.
I, Bob Sims,
I, Bob Sims,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not
that I have not
directly
directly
or indirectly
or indirectly
paid,
paid,
offered,
offered,
promised to pay,
promised to pay,
contributed,
contributed,
or promised to contribute
promised to contribute
any money
any money
or thing of value,
or value,
or promised
promise,
any public office
public office
or employment
or warrant
for the giving
with giving
or withholding
or withholding
of a vote
of those.
at the election
An election
at which I was elected,
as though elected,
or as a reward
or as a reward,
to secure my appointment
secure my appointment,
or confirmation,
confirmation,
whichever the case may be.
whichever the case may be.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, thank you, Bob. Blake, your turn.
Great.
All right. I should know this by heart now.
Yeah.
I maybe don't.
Mouthful.
All right, so we're gonna start with your oath of office, so raise your hand. I, Blake Hamilton,
I, Blake Hamilton,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute the duties
execute the duties
of the office
of the office
of Commissioner Place One
of Commissioner Place One
of the state of
of the
Texas,
state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve,
preserve,
protect, and defend
protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and to this state.
and to this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, and one more time. I, Blake Hamilton,
I, Blake Hamilton,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not
that I have not
directly
directly
or indirectly
or indirectly
paid,
paid,
offered,
offered,
promised to pay,
promised to pay,
contributed,
contributed,
or promised to contribute
or promised to contribute
any money
any money
or thing of value,
or thing of value,
or promised
or promised
any public office
any public office
or employment
or employment
for the giving
for the giving
or withholding
or withholding
of a vote
of the vote
at the election
at the election
at which I was elected,
at which I was elected,
or as a reward
or as a reward
to secure my appointment
to secure my appointment
or confirmation,
or confirmation,
whichever the case may be.
whichever the case may be.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll get Greg Akers. You want to come on up?
Oh, you want me?
Your turn. Pick on you
Just
now.
right here for now.
I was gonna say, We'll pick on you now.
what's the end of the
This will work right here.
All right, so raise your right hand for me. Yeah, that right, that right. I, Greg Akers,
I, Greg Akers,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute the duties
execute the duties
of the office
of the office
of Commissioner Place Two
of Commissioner Place Two
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve,
preserve,
protect, and defend
protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, and lastly, statement of officer. I, Greg Akers,
I, Greg Akers,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not
that I have not
directly
directly
or indirectly
or indirectly
paid,
paid,
offered,
offered,
promised to pay,
promised to pay,
contributed,
contributed,
or promised to contribute
or promised to contribute
any money
any money
or thing of value,
or thing of value,
or promised
or promised
any public office
any public office
or employment
or employment
for the giving or withholding
for the giving or withholding
of a vote
of a vote
at the election
at the election
at which I was elected,
at which I was elected,
or as a reward
or as a reward
to secure my appointment
to secure my appointment
or confirmation,
or confirmation,
whichever the case may be.
whichever the case may be.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right.
I'm gonna grab my, my whoopee.
Well, we have a quorum. We're all right. All right, we'll go down to staff reports. We'll turn that over to the city manager.
Okay, we are going to, recognize our employee of the month, and as you know, we go from department to department, and this month is basically the admin, so, that's city, department heads and mainly this building. So, I'm happy to present the employee of the month to Miss Diane Lincoln. If you'll come up here, Diane. Everybody knows Diane. Come on up here, right here, front and center. You know, when I think of Diane, I think of perseverance. She has been with the city for 35 years and she does an outstanding job. She has worked in probably almost every department that the city has, short of being outside working on water. You haven't done that, have you? Okay. But so, and when you do that and you work your way up from the ground, you know, it gives you a breadth of knowledge and experience that you have with the city that, you know, a lot of people don't have. We got Diane, who's been here for 35 years, so she's our institutional knowledge on everything. And Stacy's the other one that we can't live without. But Diane, I mean, I think people would describe her as kind. She will do anything for anyone. She's detail oriented, which is a good thing because she works with a lot of numbers. She does have an aversion to technology. She's really married to paper, but you know what? She's really a good sport, and we have been going digital for quite a while, but it really kind of accelerated when I got here, and she's always a good sport in going digital. So I just really appreciate Diane so much. And you really do, other than the be bold, you really do exemplify our core values, which is responsible, excellence, compassionate, and knowledgeable. So thank you. Please help me recognize Miss Diane. Okay.
After y'all read this.
Oh. Oh my God, what did you get? If I can, we all turn this way. Oh, I'm sorry.
This is too close.
No, you're fine.
Thank you.
And the next thing, you do have the department head, reports in your, packet. We are gonna, again, start highlighting some different departments, but, we've got a pretty lengthy agenda tonight, so we're gonna move on from that. we are welcoming, he's not here because I believe he is
Working to crash.
he's out working and we've already put him to work, but we have, the chief has hired another officer, which we're really excited about. His name is Michael Henry. He was previously employed by the city of Breckenridge in dispatch. And he did attend the Academy for Law Enforcement. He spent the last 5 years at Shackelford County, SO, I believe. And so he started about 2-3 weeks ago. And he's out working, but we wanted to welcome Officer Mike Henry back to the Breckenridge team. So, and then the other thing we did want to note there, the bulk pickup is on your calendar. And just as a reminder for everybody, you do need to call in and schedule that. And that's the Thursday before.
Let's do the Friday before
The Friday before the pickup. So, please call in, you can do it online still. So you can go to our website and do it online, or you just call into the front office and we can put you on that list to have bulk, pickup. So, that's the city
Oh,
reports for tonight.
well, we'll go to consent agenda. Any commission member may request an item on the consent agenda to be taken up for individual consideration. If y'all look at item 5 and 6, and then, we'll have somebody make a motion on that if necessary, please.
I move to approve consent agenda items 5 and 6 as presented.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Public hearing items, we'll open the public hearing at, 5:48, I'm sorry, a little slow. Yes, sir.
Okay. You want to come up to Morgan just in case? Once again, I'm Ken Cornier with Public Management. This is Morgan Barrett. And, you guys, y'all adopted the park plan last month and we've submitted that, Stacy submitted that to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. And we're going to be applying for a grant, to put in a splash pad at the park and then make some improvements to the wade pool, right? Or is that what it's called? So there's a wade pool out there that we're going to make, improvements to make it ADA accessible, and then some various other improvements. So if you have any questions about the program, Morgan's here to answer that. And this is a requirement to have a public hearing. Next month, we'll be back for you guys to pass a resolution. The application is due on August 1st. Okay?
There's no other speakers for that, so.
Okay. Do I have any other questions on that?
Oh, not at this moment, not at this time, anyway. Thank you, sir. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The next
Next one's me anyway.
anyway. So you need to close.
Did you close the
Yeah,
public
he
hearing?
closed it.
I'm sorry.
You need to close the public
All
hearing.
right, we'll close it at 5:50 PM then, I'm sorry.
Okay, now we can move on.
There was last time?
Yeah, let me get,
Okay.
Yeah, it's all. So if you'll go to the next item.
Yeah, go to action items, item 8. Discussion, any necessary action regarding presentation of the Breckenridge Comprehensive Development Plan, TXCDBG contract number CPC 21-0522.
Okay, so we do, as you all know, we got a planning grant, for 50,000, and we've been working on this with public management, essentially updating our comprehensive development plan. So this has been ongoing. The planning and zoning did already approve the park portion of this, and you guys did as well at the last meeting. So Ken is here and Sage is here, and they're going to present, this is an 90 page document. There's a lot of good information on there, so he's not gonna go into detail on it. He's gonna hit some highlights, and Sage will hit some highlights, but definitely read through that. There will be no action tonight. And we'll bring it back to you in July. Subsequent to that will come the adoption of subdivision rules and regs and zoning updates. And that will come after this process. But for tonight, Ken Kanye is here with Public Management, and he's gonna go over.
All right, very good. I think
And
I
that's
remember.
you.
Yeah, I think I remember how to work this. Okay. So what is comprehensive plan is basically we're putting together, we're looking at different sections of, like housing, population, land use. You already did the parks last time. Sage is gonna go over streets, drainage, water and sewer. So all of those individual plans put together is making up a comprehensive plan. I'm gonna get into your housing here. Can you go down? Can you do faster? This,
There's a,
down here?
yeah, there's a page.
Okay, cool. One of the first things we looked at was your housing, and we actually went through the entire city, not me, Dalton did, or some of my people. But anyway, one of the things associated with this, all the mapping you guys are getting, some of it was created by us on field work, some of it was created by Sage's team. And then some of it was just the water and sewer maps have been updated now, and that's a really big benefit to you guys. Let me go back up here, and when we get into the housing, these are the definitions, standard structure. You can see right here, once again, this information, you probably have it in your packet, and it's also on the website, Jessica mentioned. So y'all will be able to go through there kind of in detail, but this is kind of it's a windshield survey, so we're having to make some kind of, say, this one looks the best, this one's not so great, and this one's really bad. You're looking at standard, which is standard, deteriorated. Deteriorated are important because they're without proper maintenance or letting it go farther, it's gonna get into this category here. And y'all been dealing with a lot of this, your staff has, Cynthia and her team have been dealing with removing a lot of substandard and vacant units, so it's important to continue that work. This is one of the maps we created. Green's good, red is bad, and blue's in the middle. So this is gonna help you guys kind of identify where we need to concentrate, you know, looking at your code enforcement efforts and removal efforts, okay? This is a heat map we created. This is basically the vacant, dilapidated structures. So it's kind of showing you, they're kind of spread throughout the city, so it's not just one part of the city, right? The one thing I would bring up, the housing stock is old. There's a majority of these houses in y'all's overall housing stock were built before 1980. That's a big, as you can imagine, 1980 is 40-something years ago now, right? And over time, you know, they get into disrepair. People leave them, people abandon them. That's what happens to all these substandards you guys are trying to remove. This is your manufactured home distributions map. Sometimes you run into the same problem with older manufactured homes that are being built better nowadays. But some of the older ones, they fall into disrepair pretty quickly. And when we get done, when we start working in the new zoning ordinance, they will no longer be allowed in single family residential areas. So there'll be spaces for manufactured housing, but it won't necessarily be all throughout the city. This is your vacant dilapidated structures heat map. So you got the dilapidated structures and substandard, but you also got the ones that are vacant. And a lot of the ones of those are the ones that the city's efforts are trying to remove. These are multifamily units. And this is kind of this map shows your commercial structures. We actually counted the commercial structures as well. This table right here just basically sums up what we got from our field survey and from the map. There is census data here, and you have to take it with a grain of salt, and I'll go back to that and we'll get into the population. The census was done in 2020, and everyone knows what was going on in 2020. And I've been dealing with this in cities. I've worked with a bunch of different cities on these plans, and they're telling me the same things, like they know they have more people than what the census is showing. So, but this just shows, these couple of tables here shows the occupied units and then the occupancy status based on the census data. These are your building codes. I've got to go here and update before y'all get this next month, because most of these are 2021 that y'all are using here. These are your goals and objectives. The main goal is improving the quality of by upgrading the quality of the housing stock. This is continued efforts to mitigate or remove substandard units. These are some programs that are available to you guys. They're not easy. I mentioned that last night to P&Z, but I just wanted, grant does come from Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs and Texas Department of Agriculture. So these are programs that they have. Increasing code enforcement, and Cynthia and I have discussed this. This is something that getting a more robust code enforcement program going on here in the city, okay? Right now, it's kind of based on you got a part-time code enforcement officer, you may need to move to full-time to make it more proactive as opposed to reactive. Reactive is someone comes in and complains, and then you guys are out there, right? And this is more about increasing the stock of quality, affordable single-family units. And it really is, just partnership between, you know, one of the things is removing a substandard unit and going back in, through y'all's removal process, and then selling that to someone that'll put another unit there, and now it's producing taxes again. That's kind of the overall goal of that process.
Well, and just to, insert there, we are doing that. Several of the ones that we have acquired have been in the floodplain.
Okay.
And so they haven't been buildable. We do have some that are coming up that are not in the floodplain, and we will be selling those, as we need to, all of them, according to the law and,
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it has to be in your jurisdiction, right?
right.
Yeah, so there's always, especially if it's tax trust, you got school, the county and the city, right? And so there's a way to get that in so that they can remove it, that you guys can remove it. And so this is just, once getting, building codes is one thing is, and I said consider adoption, but y'all are at 2021, I'm gonna revise that to just say, hey, you know, just continue to use the most current codes. Okay, I'll move into population here. Now, this is based on census data here, right? Okay. So you got 2000 all the way to 2020. This is a really tight range from 58 to 68. There's only a total of change of 5,400 people, but this is based on census data, right? This is just kind of regional distribution. You got Eastland, Ranger, Albany, Breckenridge County, and this is just summing up the census data for the regional population, okay? There's some tables in here that talk about race and these kind of things. These are required by the grant itself, so these tables are in here for that reason. This is a chart we put together based on census data, you know, income. This low to moderate income is the reason y'all were able to get this grant, okay? And it's the reason why y'all get some other grants too. Now, this is existing population estimates. We counted over 2,300 occupied units based on 264 persons per household. So you can see our number is over 6,000 people. And the census at 2020 had y'all somewhere around 5,400 people, right? So the census counted 1,963 occupied, and our field survey counted over 2,300. So with that in mind, this is the chart that I put together for projected population all the way out to 2040. Maybe we're not going to hit 9,500, but maybe we will. This is like your minimum based on water development board projections for the county. So hopefully we're somewhere in here or closer to there by the time we get to 2040. All right. Okay. Land use, I'm gonna go to, we also, as we were counting all the houses, we looked at the land use. If there's an existing land use map we could put together. Don't confuse the existing land use map with the zoning map, so don't just take that and adopt it. We're gonna walk you through zoning, okay? So we're gonna do that after this grant gets turned in, and we'll start working with you on that. These are existing land use acreages based on our field data, okay? And this is kind of what it looks like, the existing land use map. The red is commercial, yellow is single family residential. There's also the blue, which is public, light green, which is your park. There's some other areas of manufactured housing and some multifamily units, okay? So that's, once again, this is called your existing land use map. We will use this in conjunction with the future land use map to put together a proposed new zoning map. So that's gonna be a long process and a lot of notifications and things. So we'll start working that. A lot of that work will get done in P and Z, but then you guys will be involved at some point in time, okay? And so this is, I'm gonna get you to the future land use map. And I just had a couple of comments on this. First of all, this area out here, the big one, city limits are in black, and then you come into this area. Are y'all familiar with ETJ, extraterritorial jurisdiction? It's you understand it?
I can put it together.
It's basically, for you guys at this population, there's a 1 mile around the city. That's, it's basically utilized there for when annexations occur. You can only annex in your ETJ, which that's getting harder and harder, almost impossible now. Same thing with, you're able to enforce subdivision regulations in the ETJ, so that if someone develops just outside their city limits, they are subject to the city's subdivision regulations, and we're checking to make sure that y'all haven't had an agreement way back when with the county to let them. Okay, that's something we're gonna have to figure out, but we're able to plan out there, which is why the future land use map goes out into the ETJ. It doesn't affect people's taxes, nothing like that. It's just a planning document, and it allows us, this is required A future land use map is required in order to adopt new zoning regulations. You can't do zoning without some kind of plan, and that's what this is, okay?
Just,
Yeah.
actually, it's not, the city's subdivision, you cannot enforce the subdivision rules and regs, it's the counties.
Well, technically, you can if there's nothing with yes, the suburbs, you can enforce your subdivision
In the
regulations
ETJ?
in the ETJ as long as the county. That's what we have to check on to make sure
Right.
y'all haven't given over authority to that's what they're put in place for, those subregs.
Right, so it was back on like 2005.
Y'all,
The House Bill 1445, basically the legislature stated that the city and the county had to agree on who was gonna enforce the subdivision rules and regs of the county in the ETJ. And so I don't know yet, I haven't done the research yet to find out if we actually did that with the county. You determine one or the other, and they tried to do that to streamline the development. So that a developer that was
they know where to go,
developing,
yeah.
they didn't have to go through two different.
Yeah, that's something, right, that's something, most cities would have, of course, we don't know right now, but most cities, they use their subdivision regulations, but sometimes they don't want to deal with it. And they they abdicate over to the county for that, okay? Usually the cities are more, usually the city's subdivision regulations are more strict, okay? But it's to prevent shoddy development out here. And then somehow, through annexation, it comes into, you get the problem once it's brought into the city, okay? So it's there to help you guys. And these are just some goals and objectives, improving the infrastructure, which Sage is gonna go over here in a minute. Just follow these recommendations in your water, sewer, and drainage. Here's some methods for financing these. These are just similar goals, promoting aesthetically pleasable, durable environment, and making sure we don't have projects that are detrimental to the environment. Making sure that come to you guys if someone's developing something, okay? And that's gonna be it for my part, and I'm gonna let Sage get into these utility studies.
All right, thank you, Ken.
Yes, sir.
Sage Diller with EHT. See if I can figure out how to run this one. Okay, we're gonna run through a lot of this. There's a verbiage section here that goes into detail, but we're gonna get into more of the mapping and the details. There's traffic counts are included. We did do street survey, drive through all the streets and took an inventory, trying to get down to where those are. Here's a list of objectives to address over the next several years, and some of these are ongoing and have been completed. All of the paving work that was done last year, which was a little over $1 million. And there's also additional plans for additional improvements this summer and next summer. The city has done a great job of jumping out there to do substantial paving improvements over the next few years. Cynthia's doing a good job of really pushing us and getting those projects out. But we'll get down to, but with this as well, one thing to keep in mind after or while these improvement projects are going on for paving, the maintenance side of that, we need to be planning for doing maintenance and all those. Once we have new streets out there, we want to make sure we maintain them going forward. That's going to be budget discussions and how they'll pay for. This is a phase 1 cost estimate. There's also phase 2, and that's the money that has already been budgeted for the projects that are coming up. Funding sources, we've talked about that in the past, as far as street maintenance, sales tax, and then funding through other sources. The inventory that was done, this is a brief overview showing the conditions of some of the roadways throughout the town, and these are reflected in the mapping that is here. And I apologize, it's hard to get these maps to show up well on this screen. They are very clear in the PDF, the digital format. I brought full-size maps here if we need to spread those out and look at them. There's just not a lot of room to get that spread out, but they do. This map right here is the thoroughfare map showing the arterial roads, collector streets. So that is updated. There's also a section there for the road analysis, was showing the different conditions of the roadways, green, orange, and red. Many of these streets that are shown in red are going to be addressed through the next paving program that's coming up. These are the improved, intended or the approved streets for the upcoming roadway projects. As you can see, it's going to really cover a
vast majority of the city. Now, there's also gonna be additional roadways beyond this funding that the city will have to analyze and figure out how to fund going forward. But this is a great first step that the city is taking. And if you look over the course of, say a 3 to 4 year period, the city is investing $6 million in roadway improvements. It's a substantial, great first step. Next section, we updated the water maps. This goes through the capacity analysis and of the system, talking about availability of source water, and water supply, the storage facilities, distribution lines, also pressure. We are recommending, we've talked about this in years past, about potentially developing a hydraulic water model for the city. That's great to analyze system improvements, but also any development areas. That's one thing you may be talking about in your upcoming budget discussions. Standby power, emergency power. That is one thing that is being looked at through the improvement project, especially on the wastewater side at the lift stations. We want to make sure that we can reduce the amount of power outages or downtime on those lift stations. Here are the rates for the current water rates for that's implemented with the city. Those are helping to pay for these improvements. That's one thing to keep in mind, that being able to utilize these rates to pay for these projects is an important avenue for the city to address these projects. So the goals going forward, there are current water development board projects in place that are currently under design. Those are at the water treatment plant, intake structure, and also replacement of water lines throughout town. One issue we have in the water distribution system is there's still a lot of cast iron lines and there's leaks out there. And so we're trying to help continue to get funding for the city to replace those. Obviously, all those leaks are a burden on your staff and your maintenance guys. And going out there and repairing those, it's costly, it's time consuming. So the more of those lines that we can get out of the system, the better. And that's one of the goals that we're trying to take care of. Rehabilitating the storage tanks, that's another high priority option, project there. Lead and galvanized service lines, that's a program we're working through right now, funding. And there will be additional funding for replacement of those. We're working with the city right now on the inventory, but coming up, you will be required to replace those over the course of a 10-year period. We will be assisting on applying for that funding. Roughly, the rough cost right now is about $8 million. It's very costly, but we don't truly know that cost until we do the inventory and find out how many are out there that need to be replaced. So that'll be forthcoming down the road. A lot of these water development, water related projects are funded through Water Development Board, Rural Development, CDBG program. And the city has been utilizing those sources over the many years and continue to submit those applications. So part of this process, we did update the existing water system mapping. We also identified the proposed water system improvements, the line upgrades going throughout the system. And then also identified where the currently funded projects through the Water Development Board will be replaced. And one key item there will be a substantial water line improvement project next summer, completed by next summer. And then following that up will be part of the paving improvements that will come back and then repair the roadways where those new lines are. So all of these projects and funding sources have been kind of coordinated and planned out, and that's being displayed on these maps in this report. Wastewater system, we analyzed what available prior studies were there. There's not a whole lot. We did update the mapping on this as well. One of the major issues that the city has right now is the I&I, the infiltration and inflow. There's a lot of older piping out there, clay tile pipe, brick manholes, and every time it rains, that infiltrates into the ground, into the collection system. It goes to the wastewater plant, and we have issues out there handling all that increased water. So the projects that are currently under design will help start replacing some of those lines, but there's also going to be needs in the future to replace a lot of the conveyance, the collection system, to replace the old system and reduce the I&I. Also, lift stations are a key issue right now. There are improvements at the lift stations that are approved through the current Water Development Board funding. It's under design as we currently speak. And so that will help address some of those issues. But those lift stations are a key part of your wastewater collection system. And when they go down, again, it's more staff time. And so a lot of that has to do with electrical issues. And so it's costly to get those done. And there's never enough time when you have continually wastewater flow. It's like it has to happen now. So we're gonna try to make improvements with the funding available, and then also there are plans for improvements in the future. We did mention these items, so the lift station improvements, wastewater collection improvements, treatment plant improvements, and then also those emergency generators. There are funding sources for these items, and that's what we're continuing to apply for. Let's see, here's a list of the projects that are identified. The costs associated, timelines, and then also potential funding sources. And then those are displayed on the maps as well. Next section, drainage system. We know there are drainage issues out in the city. Every time there's a big event, there are some areas that flood. They don't happen all the time, but they do happen somewhat frequently. I believe 1981 or some, 2016 and 2021 were some major events. There's some photos that we have in here. You know, some of the primary things that the city can do to address localized flooding, not the major events, but just localized stuff. It's maintenance on the culverts, it's cleaning out the channels, keeping the creeks clean. That's what you can do internally and budgeting for that. Some of the major flooding type issues like this right here, you know, that is beyond what you guys can typically address. That's gonna be a major type improvement projects in figuring out if that's, you know, something that can be managed by the city through, you know, major funding sources or not. That would take a specific drainage analysis study to analyze that and see if that can be improved upon or not. And in many cases, there's just so much you can do. You can't address every event. You just can't do it.
Going back to what you said, just as a reminder, and you guys know this, but in the last couple of budgets, we have added more in the budget to keep Consolas Creek, cut back and maintain. And we've dedicated more out at taking care of some items out at Lake Daniels as well. So we have been doing that. I mean, and again, that's a smaller scale, not big projects. A lot of cities, I don't know if you want to talk about that, but I mean, stormwater drainage, we don't have a stormwater drainage system. And a lot of cities do undertake that, but it's a huge undertaking.
Yeah, there are sections out there in the system that have some storm drains that were put in years and years ago. Usually those are kind of in intersection areas where maybe they would drain down close to discharge in the creek. Those there again, they help during small events, but when the creek is full, there's nowhere to discharge that water. So, you know, they have limited improvements there on major events. Storage drainage plan, like I said, this mainly pertains to maintenance of the creeks and curb and gutter, getting the grass and siltation out of the curb and gutter sections, out of the culverts, keeping the creeks clean. And then, you know, all those have associated costs with them. And then, you know, as Cynthia mentioned, budgeting for those. We did I update this, or I included this drainage improvement map, shows the FEMA floodplain, but also shows some of the structures through town that have been identified for maintenance and upkeep. All right, that's the section I had on those. Thank you all.
Thanks. Okay, and then of course, this is the recreation plan that you have. So all of those, as you can see, all those different components is what comes together to make up you guys a comprehensive plan. Okay?
Too many questions, but they'll come up.
Yeah, whatever y'all have related to Jessica and Cynthia, and then if they're, go ahead.
When was that flooding? 80, 81?
81 was
81?
one event, yes, sir.
I thought it was, right, yeah.
16.
Well, unfortunately, y'all get, with your rain all comes
Yeah.
a few days, right? And so that's the issue, so. Okay. And like I said, if y'all have any comments, read through, if you got anything, get it back to us before next time.
Yeah.
Or even in the next week or so, in case because we're
I
gonna
just
go.
want to at some point get a copy, so I.
Okay, I'll print you one,
Okay.
so you don't have to look at.
Yeah, thank you guys.
The next step will be, it will go back to P and Z on June 25th.
Okay,
For action, and then we'll bring it back to you in July for
Okay.
action.
Yeah, we'll have we'll have a required public hearing that night, and then there's a resolution accepting the plan so that I can get it to TDA if they start reviewing it.
do you guys have a life?
This is it.
Goodness.
That's what my wife would say.
Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
All right, no action on that tonight. Item 9, discussion and any necessary action regarding approval of engineering services work order number 040 under engineering services agreement executed on October the 1st, 2012.
Before we go there, we did, Mike Henry, I introduced earlier,
Yeah.
he was out at the
Okay,
accident.
okay, yeah.
But if you wanna, he is here, if you wanna come in, we kind of gave your intro, yeah.
You want to-
So,
I know,
this is
guy, I've known him for years. What are you doing, Ralph?
How are you? Hey, guys.
So he came to us, it's just as a reminder, he came to us from Shackelford County, SO. He did work here about, for 5 years as dispatch.
Wow.
And, so he's back on board. Welcome.
Nice to see you guys. Glad to have you, man. How are you?
Good to hear, bud. Good to see you
Good to see
again.
you again.
Been a few years.
So, this is a work order, as you know, EHT is our engineer of record, and this is a work order for, and he referenced it, but this is the, these are the street improvements that we've been talking about. We developed the street improvement plan. They did a pavement evaluation. We did the, certificates of obligation. And so this is the first part of that, engaging them to shepherd that process of going out for the RFP. And so we're looking at, you'll see in your packet, it's a repeat of what you saw in the comprehensive development plan, but basically $5 million worth of projects that will be going out for bid this year. And then, you know, in another year and a half, 2 years, we'll come back for that second round. So that's what the action is before you tonight.
Questions? No questions? Make a motion?
I move to approve work order number 040 and authorize the city manager to execute the documents.
Oh, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Thank you, guys. Item 10, discussion and necessary action regarding approval of resolution 2024-13, awarding an administration contract for application preparation administrative services for the 2024 Texas Parks and Wildlife Local Park Grant.
So we did an RFP, the advertisement went out, and again, this is all in, our efforts to, apply for a grant for a splash pad. And we're looking at paying for our match through, the COs. And we do believe, I mean, there's probably gonna be, depending on, you know, what happens, but an estimated 400,000 in interest, just on the COs themselves. So, utilizing that money for the splash pad. But this is for, administrative, services. So we had one submittal, and that was PMI and public management. And, so that is what is before you.
Okay. Questions? No questions? Another motion, please?
Move to approve resolution 2024-13 awarding grant administrative contract to public management and authorize the city manager to execute the contract.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. None opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Item 11, discussion and necessary action regarding approval of resolution 2024-14, an engineering architect contract for application preparation engineering services for a 2024 Texas Parks and Wildlife Local Park Grant.
So this is similar, this was an RFQ, and for engineering and architectural services for the splash pad grant. We had two submittals, we had EHT and we had Jacob and Martin. They were scored today and you have those in your packet. Yeah, Jacob and Martin, got 290 points and EHT, was 284 points. There were three scorers on each. So that's before you.
Questions? Another motion then?
Move to approve resolution 2024-14 designated Jacob and Martin to provide engineering and architectural services for the 2024 Texas Park and Wildlife Grant and authorize the city manager to negotiate the contract.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Thank you. Item 12, discussion any necessary action regarding resolution 24-12 appointing a commissioner to serve as mayor pro tem.
So as you know, you have a new year and you have new members come on, you guys vote amongst yourselves to see who is going to serve as mayor pro tem. Currently, Gary Mercer is serving as mayor pro tem. While Gary and Vince are not here, we did talk with both of them. And so they're both willing, you guys are willing, I mean, you guys just decide amongst yourselves who's gonna take that spot.
I mean, one of them.
Y'all wanna,
It doesn't matter. to
put
me.
Gary back on there or get Vince or what do you think? I'm open.
Let's do Vince since Gary just.
Get Vince?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're not.
I could have a-
Yeah, right.
Share the wealth a little with you.
Yeah, he's a long one.
Share the wealth. Okay.
I move to approve resolution 2024-12 appointing Vince Moore to serve as mayor pro tem.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? None opposed, thank you. Item 13, discussion any necessary action regarding the capital purchase of a dump truck for the street department.
Okay, well, there's no easy way to get to that, so this is, on my computer. So this is, a dump, we are severely in need of equipment in our public works. As you know,
We have one currently, correct?
well, two,
But one.
not in our streets, we don't have.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm trying to remember.
So,
So, yeah,
There you go.
so in our streets, yeah, we don't have one in our streets,
Gotcha.
we've got two in our public works, water, wastewater side. Streets is public works, but streets is paid for out of general fund. Anyway, and so with the COs, we can use that as funding. We did source one out, it's $125,000 roughly. And it's ready to go. It's a smaller, it suits our needs. But you don't have to have a CDL. We do have CDL drivers, a few, but they've made it, if you let your CDL go, it's right now is more difficult to get your CDL. So not having to have a CDL on this dump truck is helpful. This helps with street department with all the work that they do. I mean, in the demolition, they're the ones that really work on, demoing the substandard houses that we have. Putting it in the dump truck and taking it out to our monofield. As well as, when water, wastewater goes out on site, they're digging stuff up. And then they put back together, the street department puts stuff back together, so, it is
How much was it? 125?
125, or 124 something.
Is this a new truck or a used one? New one? Good, okay.
It's 124,973.
That's 125.
What is that, buddy?
Rounded up.
Yeah, it's just, it is.
And 22 cents.
I was gonna say,
Diane, like
$2 away.
that, try to get those
Those
cents.
pennies count.
Sorry, Diane. I realize it, yeah.
I always round up too.
We did source it, it is on through the buy board, so we're good there, and, that's what you have before you tonight.
Yeah, a question on it. I know we need them. There's no denying that. In this one, it's just to clarify, because I haven't been around for some of this, it is strictly for streets. Obviously, just for the street department, or is it?
Yeah,
gonna be
now,
crossings?
yes, primarily is for streets.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying, I mean, again,
There's gonna be
Public
a
Works
need.
has two.
Right.
Water, wastewater, I should say, has two.
Is somebody can grab that thing?
Good.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Look at him.
it. Move to approve the purchase of a dump truck using CO 223 funds and authorize the city manager to execute the document.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, none opposed. Item 14, discussion, any necessary action regarding approval of ordinance 2024-09 of guidelines for filming in Breckenridge.
So this is, really fulfills one of our strategic goals of promoting economic development and promoting Breckenridge as, you know, a tourist destination. It's very low key, we recognize that, but there's 3 steps to becoming a film-friendly city. You attend a workshop, you pass, administratively enforceable guidelines, and then you submit photos to the state database. And then, you know, when people are looking to, you know, film somewhere, they go through those photos. We have to have a minimum of 5. We have way more than that just with the city. I'm gonna be getting with the downtown development committee and talking with them. I mean, I briefly talked with JB and hoping to get other people on board in submitting photos. So it's, if, you know, we got Taylor Sheridan that's from here and he's always looking, seems like he has all kinds of programs. But they, you know, filmed in Straw and not that long ago, so it's, you know, we may get some stuff, we may not, but, we'll be on the map, so. Jessica and I did attend, a 1.5-day seminar down in, New Braunfels a couple of weeks ago, so we've got that ticked off, that box ticked off. This one, and then once you guys pass this, it'll just be submitting 5 photos, which we have, and then we're gonna encourage the community to submit other ones.
Well, you know, when Strawn was doing their filming last year, I guess, don't know how much money it brought into it. It brought a lot of people in town, so
Right.
they were eating and spending money and stuff, and it was neat to watch them all
When if
filming.
businesses like put in their pictures and offer up their business to be
Yeah.
able to film there and things like that, they get income from that. So as these film producers and stuff come in, they'll pay them to use their facilities or homes, private homes. Really just about anything within the city, so.
Well, they brought in tons of sand to cover those streets, you know, or to set up from a time frame, but it was neat to see. It was neat, yeah.
I move to approve ordinance 2024-09 as presented.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Item 15, discussion, any necessary action regarding resolution 2024-15, vehicle and equipment use policy adoption.
So, we did have some, you know, vehicle use, policies in place, in our onboarding process. However, it came to my attention that we don't have a comprehensive vehicle and equipment use policy, which was a little surprising to me, actually. But, you know, we didn't necessarily reinvent the wheel because every city has these. So we got some, we did, you know, tweak it for, the city. And so that's what you have before you today for consideration. And this will go into our personnel policy.
I move to approve resolution 2024-15 as presented.
Motion and second, all in favor? Aye. All right. Item 16, discussion, any necessary action regarding approval of ordinance 2024-07, updating the schedule of fees, and this will be a second reading.
So you have those before you. This is the second time, actually probably the fourth time you've seen them because we just had a technical issue that we had to bring them back.
I move to approve the second reading of ordinance 2024-07, updating the schedule of fees.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Well, we don't have a second yet.
Can you get a second? I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah,
jumping
just
ahead.
a little bit double check if I remembered something.
Yeah, no.
I'll second.
Okay. Both second, all in favor? None opposed? All right. Any items y'all think you want to put on the agenda for the next time? Anything come to mind tonight? Nothing, we can always get with them at a later date. Okay, it's 6:32. We're adjourned. Thank all of you. Chief,
Good to see you.
Sage, yeah. Do we each get the, a copy of the map?
You might just leave them at City Hall.
Yeah. You just hold them there.
Yeah.